My bad, y'all. I accidentally stopped the stream. So anyway, what I want to talk about right now is a young lady by the name of Candace Owens, okay? I've spoken about her before, but I feel given the traction she has gained in the political world and in the world in general, I think it's very important that we talk about a woman like that because her influence is growing. Okay, now she's all about a Blexit from the Democratic Party, and you know what? On every point that she makes, except for a couple, as to why we should, as black people, steer clear of the Democratic Party, I agree with her. Because, Democrats, the elitist Democrats, they tend to look down on black people as somebody that they need to, just take care of and, manipulate and control. They know what's best for us. And now all these talking points that they use to gain our favor and gain our vote. One particular thing that I want to talk about in regards to that is this whole talk on reparations. Okay. Now I was going to do a video about reparations because a lot of people are a little confused about what that is. All right. A lot of people are confused about who it'd have to end up paying reparations, who it would go to, how it would be distributed. But I'm going to talk about that another time. I feel like I need to talk about Candace Owens right now. All right. Now, I agree that the Democrats, the Democratic Party, the ones in the Congress and the Senate, they use black people for votes. They pander to black people. They tell black people what they want to hear. They go to town hall meetings where black people are and throw on accents, to pander to us. It's really insulting. They insult our intelligence day by day. I would have to 100% agree with that. But see, the problem I have with Candace Owens is the fact that she just doesn't want the Democrats or the black people to get away from Democrats. She wants them to come on over to the Republican Party. You see, she's perpetuating this left versus right paradigm, which is really just a fucking it's theater. It's bullshit. There's no real division there. Okay, it's a game, right? Now, in some instances, in some municipalities and states, there might be some of that real shit like that going on. But on the federal level, on the central government level, it's a game. All right. Once you start reaching those echelons, right? Once you start going to Washington D.C., you leave your state, your constituency state, your constituency district. You go to Washington D.C., it's a whole different ball game. All right, that's what we have to understand. These congressmen and senators, they have to go to Washington every so often to talk about shit, to talk about the future of our country. But at the end of the day, Candace Owens says that Democrats want black people to fail at the end of the day. It's a hasty generalization. I'm going to talk about that too because she was arguing with somebody on Fox, right? And she mentioned that. She said that Democrats want black people to fail. Then there was a black Democrat on there saying something about her, and then she pulled out this ad hominem attack defense. Oh, you're doing ad hominem attacks. You're personally attacking me. You're not attacking my argument. Because as I mentioned, ad hominem attacks are fallacies, and they're fallacies that are initiated when a person doesn't really have a strong argument against your point, or they can't rebut in a sound and reasonable way. So they attack your person. Well, you know what she did? And you know why I know that this is theater? Because I know no one mentioned, the guy didn't mention and point out that she herself committed a fallacy. The hasty generalization. Yes, sirree. That's another fallacy that is often used by politicians. She used it. She said that all Democrats Democrats want black people to fail. And when old boy brought that up to her, that she said that, even though he didn't mention that it was a freaking fallacy, which he should have, she pointed out his fallacy, which I really didn't think that he attacked her. I don't think he attacked her personally at all. I don't remember exactly what interview. So it was on Lauren Ingram's show on Fox. If y'all want to check that out, I know people would like to think that paying attention to politics is a distraction, but you must understand that it's very important to study it, to study politics and understand what they're doing, to understand the distraction and understand the agenda. It's not just a distraction. There's an agenda behind it. It's about getting people behind them because they still need the people to get behind them. So it's not just a distraction. So like I said, she used hasty generalization when she said that Democrats want black people to fail. Now, I'm not going to argue for or against that that idea, okay? Because it might very well be true. But the point is, they're making this woman look like she is just impervious. Her arguments are just impervious. Like every time she talks to somebody, every time she gets in a debate with somebody, they can't out-talk her. You can't out-talk that woman. You know, she'll start throwing out words like fallacies and shit like that. And she'll she got a hell of a mouthpiece. And people got hell of a mouthpieces. They talk all that big shit. You know what I'm saying? And it make it sound good. She talks about how white nationalism and white supremacy don't necessarily hold black people back. How it doesn't have to hold black people back. Like in places like Chicago, where black people are killing black people, there's no white supremacy there. It's just black people killing black people. Never mind the fact that white supremacy is the reason that we're in that position. While we're poor in that position, she points out the 91% of black people are killed by other black people. Well, the same is true for white people. 91% of white people are killed by white people, or it's somewhere in 90%. 90 percentile. So what are you saying there? Another thing is, and this is how I know it's bullshit. They don't point that out when she says that shit. When she says shit like white supremacy, it don't matter. They don't point out that white supremacy got us in this position in the first place all those years ago. And that's the same argument people use with reparations. Look, there hasn't been slavery in 160 years. I wasn't a slave owner, and you wasn't a slave. Yet they forget to point out the fact that this country benefited white nationalist groups and supremacy groups, started companies that went on to become mega billion dollar companies to this day that benefited directly from slavery. If it wasn't for slavery, it wouldn't be cracking like that. And they act like, oh, they're going to come to your house and take reparations from the individual. No, it would have to come from the corporations that benefited directly from slavery. And never mind the sharecropping after that, Jim Crow, all this other shit, the Mann Act. Come on, man. They used the Mann Act to put a lot of black people away. What are we not getting? What are we not understanding here? They think that oppression and persecution of black people stopped with slavery. That's what they want you to think, but that's not the case. And that's what she would like you to think. But I would like to point something else out that none of her opponents point out. The fact that when she was in school a few years ago, She was a victim of a racist attack. She was a victim of white supremacy herself. And her family sued the mayor of her town or whatever the case back in those days. Look it up. It's out there. The info's out there. Yes. She was involved in a lawsuit against a white supremacist. The son got on the phone with her, called her all kind of racial names, racist slurs and stuff, threatened to beat her ass, physically harm her. How many of y'all know about that? No one talks about it because it's bullshit. This is all a game. Candace Owens is there to pull black people over to the Conservative Party to keep them on one side or the other. They don't want black people to be independent or think independently. Let's get something straight. Candace Owens is not against white nationalism. As a matter of fact, she went over to Europe to have a meeting with some Britons, some white nationalist Britons, and she applauded their idea. I know why you coming over here, brother.
What's up?
What's up, man?
What?
Doing the work. She went over to Europe, and shout out to Irene Yvette because she has a video about that. Go to her channel and check out what Candace Owens is doing over there in Europe, promoting white nationalism with her black ass. You understand what I'm saying? So she's not against white nationalism, and she wants us to be at the heel of white nationalists. That's the whole point of her doing this. She wants black people to be on the heel of white nationalists, just like she's at the heel of Trump and all these other white nationalists. Let's get that straight. She blasts and destroys Democrats all the time. Kudos to you, girl. Kudos to you. You're right. The Democratic Party is not the party for black people, but neither is the Republican Party. Period. Why doesn't she talk about? She wants to talk about black people being independent and doing shit on their own and standing up for themselves, right? Getting out of their own way. Why doesn't she talk about starting our own party? Why don't she head up a party for black people and get away from both sides? Because she wants us to be controlled by the side she wants to be controlled by. Yes, there is a Brexit. And there needs to continue to be a Brexit of the Democrat Party. But we need our own party. We need our own shit. Point blank and period. I don't care what nobody say. And there's nothing wrong with that. We can have our own shit to make sure that we're properly represented. And white folks can have their shit so they know that they're properly represented. Everybody gets proper and equal representation. And we good. At the end of the day, it's about individual rights. You can't have individual rights if you're under the thumb of one party or the other and they don't care about your own best interests. Can they? Can it? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm going to get back at y'all with some more of that. Go back and watch the first video. I got some good music at the beginning. I accidentally cut it off in the middle. That's what I don't like about this video recording shit. Anyway, much love to y'all. All right, hit that like button, share, subscribe, and let's get this word out there. Peace.